Did you know that on average, we have roughly 6,200 thoughts every single day? It's mind boggling, right? Well, according to Queen's University in Kingston, Canada, we as humans have on average 6,200 thoughts every single day. That just blows my mind every time I read it. And it left me thinking, if I have over 6,000 thoughts every single day of my life, how on earth can I ever truly trust myself? How on earth can I trust those thoughts? I mean, that is 6,200 thoughts every single day of our lives. Think about that. And that was a fabulous question to me. So I decided to help us. And in doing so, I came across an ancient principle, a very well known ancient principle that many of us just don't practice. And I truly believe it's because we don't know how. One of the most fascinating ancient secrets when it comes to trusting yourself more comes from Stoicism, or the art of patience and virtue. You see, Stoics believe that while they can't control what happens in life, they can control how they respond to life. And like Stoics, you can do the same thing. No, you can't control life events. And I don't think you can predict the future, but you can control how you respond to life events and how you respond to future events. This brings me to principle number one, the dichotomy of control. Stoicism teaches a few things when it comes to your response to life events. There are things that are within our control, like our actions, our judgments, and our emotions. And then there are things that are not in our control, or everything else outside of those three things. And by focusing on what you can control, not only do you gain inner peace, but you also reduce your anxiety. That's pretty cool, right? And naturally, when you reduce your anxiety, what happens? You begin trusting yourself more. So your self-trust increases, and your self-trust increases because you have become stronger in trusting yourself. And when you begin to worry less, you begin to trust more. And that trust includes trusting yourself more. So I think that's pretty awesome. I want you to meditate on the dichotomy of control, or simply responding to the things that you can control, the things that are within your control. Like I said, your actions, your judgments, your emotions, your desires, and everything else, let it go. The second Stoic principle that I want you to practice to help you learn to trust yourself more is self-reflection, or the examination of your judgments. Stoics often practice cognitive behavioral therapy. This is something I'm learning so much about as I study to become a psychologist. But they practice this because they believe that if they understand why they make certain decisions, they can begin trusting their decision-making process. And it's true. If you understand why you're making certain decisions, or why you're having certain thoughts, you can start trusting your decision-making process. Now, this process involves questioning yourself. It can be a little bit uncomfortable, but sometimes we have to go there, right? So it involves questioning your desires and your fears and your beliefs. Ask yourself, why do you doubt your decisions? And why are you thinking the way you do? And then you have to decide, are these decisions based on logical thoughts? Are they based on logic? Or are they based on senseless fears? And if they're based on senseless fears, employ the dichotomy of control. Focus on what you can control, and those things that you cannot control, let them go. It really does work. But most of all, I want you to listen to your inner wisdom. If you can listen to your inner wisdom, you can learn to trust yourself wholeheartedly. I promise. The next Stoic principle that you can practice to help you learn to trust yourself more is the premeditation of evils. Hold up, stop the presses. I know what you're thinking. When I heard the premeditation of evil, I'm thinking the premeditation of what? I don't need to meditate on anything evil. I like my peace. I like my good life. I don't want to think about anything evil. I'm just going to leave that right over there, right? And so I was being a bit pessimistic, because you hear the word evil and you're thinking, I don't want to think of anything evil. I don't want to invite evil into my peaceful life. But I had to just settle myself, be a grown up about the premeditation of evils, and really dive deep to learn what it's about. And I'm glad that I did. This practice is simply visualizing the worst case scenario. What's the worst that could happen? This helps to prepare yourself mentally. However, it is a two-step process, because while you can visualize or imagine the worst case scenario, you have also got to accept. So they become married, right? You have to visualize, and then you have to accept, and the two become one. Because let's face it, we can visualize or we can imagine the worst case scenario all day. But if we don't accept that it's a possibility that it can happen, then we're causing ourselves to sit in a pile of anxiety, and that's not good. So when you imagine accepting the worst case scenario of the event, the speaking gig, the test results, the doctor's appointment, you reduce your fear of it. That is so awesome, right? And it makes your current decisions feel less risky and more trustworthy. And this over time increases your very own self-trust. Next, I want you to practice virtue. If you want to learn to trust yourself more, you need to practice virtue. Stoics believed in living according to 4 principles: courage, or how to act in difficult situations and being resilient; justice, honesty, equity, and fairness; temperance, modesty, self-control over impulses and emotions; and lastly, wisdom, knowing what is good and bad, or having good sense. And truly, this is something that we all should strive for: to have courage, to practice justice and temperance, and to be wise, because those are good things in life. And as we know, when we surround ourselves with true goodness, whether it be people, thoughts, ideas, anything, you too will be good. So you want to practice these 4 virtues, because by aligning your actions with these 4 virtues, you build a character that is consistent and reliable. And that's an awesome thing, because that naturally increases your self-trust. If you have a consistent and reliable character, your self-trust is going to be through the roof. So in other words, all negative or positive circumstances in your life are opportunities to practice one of the 4 virtues. In doing so, you increase your self-trust. Next, I want you to keep a journal. Now, this is nothing new. We have been journaling forever. However, I don't want you to just journal. I want you to write meditations. I want you to be like Marcus Aurelius. He wrote the meditations, but he didn't write them for publication. He wrote them as personal notes to himself, as bits and pieces of guidance for self-improvement. And so, like Marcus, when you write down your thoughts and your decisions and your reflections, you can start to see patterns in your behavior and your thought processes. And because you can then see those patterns in your behavior or in your way of thinking, you can work to change those patterns and that thought process if they are indeed negative thoughts or negative patterns. When you do this, your self-trust is going to increase because you are making positive changes. You are putting in the effort to first know yourself better and to get better, because getting better takes work. Knowing ourselves take work. We've been conditioned over time or throughout life by our upbringing, by society, by our own thoughts to do and be and say and behave this way. However, when you put the effort in to become better, to think better, to make better decisions, your self-trust is going to increase. It is going to become 100% solid. And that is what you want in life. Next, I want you to practice negative visualization. Now, this brings me back to the premeditation of evil because I try not to marinate in anything negative. I don't want to be a pessimist or be pessimistic. However, this is simply about a gratitude. It is about occasionally, that's the key word, occasionally pondering on the blessings in your life. It's about thinking, if you didn't have those blessings, how valuable would your life be? And this can be very sad. When I read this or when I was studying this, I thought about my family and my children, my loved ones, my friends. We take people and things for granted all the time. And most of us not intentionally. It's just that we get busy. We do this thing called life, because life really do be lifing. And so we get busy. And in that busyness, we often take people and things for granted, and that's not good. So it's about taking a moment to really focus and appreciate all of the blessings that we have around us. Pondering just for a minute about what we do. How would our lives really be if we didn't have those blessings? In this gratitude, when you practice being grateful, you learn to trust your own judgments over time. And rather than listening to outside voices and seeking outside validation, you listen to your inner voice, your inner wisdom, your intuition. And you don't worry about their validation. You seek and trust your own. And that is a very powerful thing because you don't want to go to someone and say, well, I know my favorite color is pink or red. However, how do they feel about that? Or this dress looks so nice on me. I'm just so happy to be wearing this beautiful green dress, but how does so-and-so think this dress looks on me? Doing that, you're putting other people's thoughts before your own. You're discrediting your truth. You're discrediting your own intuition, your self-trust. However, when you can practice the art of gratitude, my friend, you realize that outside validation is not something that you need. It's not. You learn to trust yourself. You learn to give yourself empathy. You start practicing more empathy toward yourself, more grace toward yourself. And in the long run, over time, because nothing happens overnight, right? You learn to value the now and you forgive yourself for prior ungratefulness. The next Stoic principle that I want you to practice to learn to trust yourself more is something called evening reflection. And this is simply reflecting on your day in the evening. So at the end of your day, review what you did well and what you could improve, if anything. If you had a great day, if you know that you did everything well, just reflect on the goodness in your life. Just be grateful for the goodness in your life, the good things that you have. And this practice helps with ongoing personal development. So it helps you get better as a person. And that's also a fabulous thing, right? Because we want to strive to become our best selves. And so it helps with self-improvement. And self-improvement is the key or a part of the key to the foundation of self-trust. So have tea, have tea tonight, have coffee tonight, have some kind of hot warm drink and take a moment to reflect in the evening. You'll be so happy that you did, I promise. Journal, reflect over tea. I love it. And lastly, the last Stoic principle that you can practice every day to learn to trust yourself more is to look within your community and at your role models. Now, while Stoicism practices personal virtue, it also values community. So, observing and learning from your community or from people that you look up to, seeing how they got through life's challenges on the back of their self-trust is empowering. So, look at their life's challenges, look how they trust themselves and how they made it through, and let it empower you. As Cahill Gibran says, trust in dreams, for in them is hidden the gate to eternity. So, in other words, trust yourself, but also trust the possibilities that life hold for you, because this trust, while you can't see it, it's not something you can see, it's something you can feel. This trust opens the path to deeper truths and a fabulous future that goes beyond what you can fathom for yourself. And that's exciting. I am excited about that. And I hope that you are too. So, my friend, by incorporating these practices into your daily life, it's just like those 6,200 thoughts that we have every single day. You allow yourself to cultivate a mindset where self-trust is not just a brief feeling, but a deeply rooted habit. That is so powerful, if I must say so myself. But I want you to remember that self-trust is not about never doubting again. We have to be realistic. We're humans. It's a part of humanity. Doubt is a part of humanity. However, it's about having a strong foundation to manage that doubt effectively. And these principles designed to teach you how to trust yourself more, like any ancient wisdom, requires patience and persistence. However, because you are so amazing, you're so mighty, and you're so strong, you have got this. Without a shadow of a doubt, you've got this. So there you have it. I am author and healer Katie Gates, and this is the place where I help women like you and me become the best people that we can be. If that is your thing, subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, give this video a thumbs up, and if you found it valuable, drop me a pineapple in the comment section and tell me, are you going to practice any of the 8 principles that you have learned in this video? If you are, which one? I'd love to know. Again, I'm author and healer Katie Gates, and until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.